All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hey, 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 Blackout Magazine. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is the Mrs., aka Pastor Roni, aka uh Winston's wife. I don't know. Anything you want to call me, whatever. And we'll see if I answer to it. So also, I done added a new flavor in there. I kind of like it. I'm auntie from the cookout. Just sitting down chatting with folks, having a good time. But we're coming up on Blackout Magazine's 3-year anniversary, and in reflecting in all of the impact that Blackout Magazine has had on the world and our current state of things, we're having an opportunity to sit down and chat with folks who are involved with the magazine, those who our current contributors, past contributors, future contributors, those who really just have something to say and add to the Blackout family. And so I have the wonderful opportunity of speaking with, and go ahead and introduce yourself, my illustrious guest.
Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. My name is David Maurice Griffin. I am a licensed massage therapist and also a massage therapy instructor here in Columbia, South Carolina. And I am a feature contributor with the Blackout magazine.
Yes, 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 yes. So David and I just right now we're going to spend a little bit of time. We're going to talk about who David is as an individual, as a family man. We're going to talk a little bit about what he gets from being a part of the Blackout family and what his future hopes and goals are with Blackout Magazine. So I'm glad that you all are along for the ride this afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world, to be a part of this conversation and hear what David has to say, because I think really and truly it makes it more personal as we get the opportunity to share with folks what Blackout Magazine means to us as individuals. And so, David, what industry you mentioned that you are a licensed massage therapist? And
Yeah.
so, just tell us a little bit about that.
All right. So yes, I'm a licensed massage therapist, been in the field for about 5 years now. Well, yeah, I just had my anniversary. Um, and
Yes.
went to school here at Southeastern College, the Columbia campus, and specialized in neuromuscular therapy, trigger point therapy, oncology massage, lymphatic drainage. And now I went back to my school to become a massage therapy instructor. And so that's what I do. So yeah, I'm loving it, enjoying it.
Yes, that's wonderful. So, really and truly, if we think about, because everybody now, we're all about the me time, we're all about
Mhm.
self-care. And so I will tell you, I mean, I wish I lived down there because you surely would be my go-to guy. For those of you who don't know, David and I are actually already family, even
Yeah.
before Blackout Magazine. But I know that when I go get my massages, it's crucial. So if you are in the Columbia, South Carolina area, he's your guy. So
Come
my question
on.
is that like your dream job? Is that the thing that, like, if you could just didn't have to worry about money, didn't have to worry about education, is this the thing that you would be doing?
I would say in some capacity, yes, because my dream has always been to service people and to heal people. Because I remember when I was a young kid, I had a dream that I wanted to be a doctor just so I can heal people or help people. And so I haven't become a doctor, but but
A
I'm
lot
in
of
that
school, a lot
realm.
of school.
Yeah, but I'm in that realm of servicing people and healing people. So
Yes, that's wonderful. And really and truly that ability to give, when we think about our community, the alphabet mafia, as I like to call us,
right.
and we think about that idea, really and truly, I think oftentimes we sort of end up in arenas where we are serving others. And I think part of that has to do with because our community so often is overlooked. And,
Mhm.
people aren't necessarily always so willing to give. And so it puts us in this place of we know what it feels like not to be healed and whole. And so we
Mhm.
end up oftentimes in arenas where we're trying to do that for others because we know what it feels like. Now, here's my question, because most therapists have a therapist, your doctor
Mhm.
needs to have a doctor. So do
Mhm.
you have someone that you see for yourself to get you all aligned and in shape and in order?
Yes, I do. I actually have like two or three people that I can go to get my massage in. So yeah.
Yes, good for you, good for you. Because that's the other thing, right? Sometimes we're so busy trying to help others, we forget about
Mhm.
ourselves. So I'm so glad that you're not doing that. You're taking care of you too. So I know, of course, because I know David is married. And so, how long have you and your wonderful love been together? How did you guys meet? Tell us a little bit about your love story.
All right, so my husband's name is Benjamin Griffin, and he and I have been together 6 years, married for 5. And how we met actually is it's pretty funny because I was living in DC and he was down here in Columbia, South Carolina, and we met virtually through an organization that we were a part of. And I was actually the membership person, and so I was trying to keep it all professional. And then um, once he crossed into the organization, we had our little retreat in Miami. I was like, hey, maybe I need a. So yeah, and from then on, we've been attached to the hip.
The rest is history. Oh my goodness gracious. I love it. I love it. You know what? It's funny because Winston and I sort of met. We were in a group together, and I was just like, he put up a post and I responded to it. And then he asked me a follow up question. I was like, well, do you mind if I send you a private message? And so, I mean, hey, I was just, curious. Okay.
Right,
Um,
right.
but I think that's so wonderful though, because when we think about that, we start out in that way. We know that that spark of attraction is there,
Mhm.
but we don't try to start out there, right? I'm not immediately trying to hop in the bed with you or
Right,
whatever.
right, right.
And so in those ways I have to spend that really in-depth time getting to know each other. And so thinking about marriage and your relationship and the wonderful love story that you guys have, I know that you all are foster parents. And so,
Yes.
can you tell us a little bit about that? What it's like being a foster parent? What interested you guys? How did that conversation even come about?
Well, so it's funny how God aligns things and put things into work, and it doesn't come into fruition until all parts align up. Whether you, because if you're not in His will and word, then the way will not come about. So
Mm,
all three have to line up: the word, will, and way. And so when I was in DC. I actually started the process of becoming a foster parent, went
mhm,
through the training and everything, but the relationship I was in wasn't conducive
mhm,
for it. And
mhm.
so it wasn't until I met Ben, we ended up getting married. A few years later, we had the conversation, hey, let's have some kids. And he want to have kids before he's what, 35. And I was like, okay, I'm pushing up close to 40 right about now. So so let's go ahead and let's do it. And so we started the process last year. We've been a foster parents for about a year now, almost. And we had 2 placements. We had 2 boys back in December, had them for about a couple of weeks to a month, and really nurtured and guided them. And now we have 2 girls. They're our longest placement so far because we had them since February, and it's been a joy, especially if they keep on your toes.
I am sure. I am sure. Absolutely. So, what would you say to someone who's considering getting into being a foster parent? How would you encourage them? Because I'm sure the process is not easy. I know for me personally, the idea of having these children in my home and then having to turn them back over, I just couldn't
Mhm.
imagine. And so, what would you say to someone who's considering it, but they're thinking, oh my gosh, how would I be able to do that? Or something is sort of, making them hesitant.
Um, I would say, I would say, think about your reason or your why for doing becoming a foster parent. That why is going to be what guides you because the foster care system in and of itself is something not conducive for a lot of the kids that are in foster care system.
Mhm.
And so you being the advocate for that child or children is very important as a foster parent. So in ways where they can't speak for themselves, you have to be that voice for them, even when it comes to DSS,
Mhm.
because we're constantly on DSS telling, hey, you need to get this done and they need it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so if you can't advocate for them, then being a foster parent probably wouldn't be your best
Yeah.
avenue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, and it's wonderful that there are people, willing to do those things. We always sort of really have to follow our heart. And like you said,
Mhm.
really, you mentioned that relationship with God and really making sure that you're in his will. And I know that you're a part of ministry. And so tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. So I've been in ministry. Oh Lord Jesus. Oh, I've been in ministry since 2009. Yeah, since 2009 in various capacities. Um, and it started back in DC. Well, actually, longer than that because I grew up in church.
Hmm.
My godparents were bishops and pastors of a church, and I was their junior trustee. I even started their children's choir, and so and so in some
That means you can sing. Okay.
right, and so in some capacity, I was in ministry, but it wasn't until about 2009 when I actually took more of a leadership role. And so I became an adjutant to my pastor at the time, and then ended up becoming executive pastor in DC. And then when I moved here, launched the ministry, and then ended up combining that ministry with other co-laborers. And so the four of us are now in ministry together doing our thing. And yeah, I'm loving it.
And so, what's the name of the ministry and how can people find it?
All right. So the name of the ministry is Core Ministries, Christ over everything, and currently we're doing virtual ministry because we're all about giving back to the community. And so if you're trying to follow us, so you can follow us on Facebook. We have our weekly discussions every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. and it's good conversations that the church itself likes to have, and we're trying to have those conversations. And so join
Yes,
us.
honey. I'm telling you, tune in because when he talks about those four, honey, that core four of core, honey, they are all different personalities. You will surely get somebody's gonna click with you because, honey, they are a hoot and a half, and they do have those real conversations, honey. They just put the truth out there. So, absolutely, I love them. Absolutely, and so again, it's sort of that thing of we really know that for so many of us, and especially when it comes to um, our Black and Brown people, that
Mhm.
the church really can be a sore sticking point for us. And so, one, my question is, did you ever have a time where you felt like the church turned their back on you? And then, if so, what brought you back and made you sort of be able to step out in this bold experience?
So yes, I did have what we call church hurt. And so like I mentioned, I grew up in my godparents' church, and I had visited another church with a friend of mine, and I think it was like a family and friends type situation. And I remember church was good, everything was so high, and then the pastor ended up calling folks to come down to the altar to be saved. And me at 10 years old, I will never forget this day. Me at 10 years old, I walked down to the altar, and I'm just boohoo crying because I don't know, something came over me. I was like, yes, I'm ready. Come on, come get me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I get down to the altar, and I'm in the line with everybody who was much older than me. I'm like the youngest person up there. And so the pastor, all he did, and I cannot forget this day, all he did was touch my head, and I broke out in tongues.
Wow. Wow.
Broke
Wow.
out in tongues and everything. And then that following Saturday, ended up being baptized at their church.
Yeah.
And so my godparents, I go back to my godparents and was like, hey, I got saved. I'm super excited. I got saved at this church and that. And then my grandmother, she tells me, you're not saved.
Oh, wow. 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 That
And
surely
then,
steals the moment, right?
right, yeah, it says,
Huh.
you're not saved. And then a few days later, my godfather says that he had a dream that I was falling down this hole into the pit of hell, because he had a dream that I was gay. And I was like, yeah, I'm gay.
Wow.
I am.
Wow. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so from those two instances, I left
Mm-hmm.
church.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then yeah, I left church and focused on school. But then it was when I joined the military.
Mm-hmm.
When I joined the military, um, and met one of my supervisors on the ship, and didn't know that he was in ministry
Mm-hmm.
or was a pastor. And he says, hey, the ship is having a little church type thing, contemporary, or they call it a contemporary service.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what they
Yeah.
contemporary service.
We've all seen those on the church sign, the
Uh,
contemporary service. Huh?
a contemporary service. And I was like, okay, I'll come and, sit, and be a mix and mingle, because most of your contemporary worship service attendees were us,
Mm-hmm.
colored folk,
Mm-hmm.
because people that went to the Protestant one were the other. And
Uh-huh.
so,
Uh-huh.
and so I went, sat, and I was like, okay, you got a nice little word. Okay. And ended up joining the choir.
Wow.
And and through that relationship with him is how I saw how God is loving
Mm-hmm.
and accepting and
Mm-hmm.
inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's from that standpoint is how I then built my ministry and my relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so yeah, and that's where I've been ever since. Is God is loving.
Yeah.
God is inclusive. God is,
Yeah.
hey.
That's powerful. I love that testimony. And especially because you know, for Blackout Magazine, I write a whosoever article and, talking about that relationship with God and really trying to encourage people. In reality, we are all human. We
Mm-hmm.
all have our failings. And even people, those that loved you and really thought they were coming from a loving place,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, were doing damage.
Mm-hmm.
And so often we really struggle with, how can I forgive them? Because we oftentimes think about that if I forgive them, then I'm just saying that it's okay to hurt me. No, forgiving them is about releasing that, recognizing that they are human, they are frail, they are
Mhm.
fragile, they are failing in one way or another, just like I am. And then once I can release that, then I really realize that I was allowing them to be in the way of my relationship with God,
Actually,
you
actually.
know? And so, yeah, so I love that you were able to really recognize that, not what people were saying, but about that relationship with God. And so, thank you for sharing that with us. That's such a significant thing. And also, thank you for your military service.
Okay.
Really and truly, because it was one of those things that, honey, I knew I couldn't do. So now we've gotten to know you, David, the man, the myth, the legend, honey. And so now let's talk about your relationship with Blackout Magazine. How did you come to be connected to Blackout? Because I know you said you'll be a future contributor. How did you come to be connected at all with Blackout Magazine?
It was your lovely significant other, your better half.
Yes, honey. Let me tell you, Winston, honey, will draw you in, honey. That is ride or die Blackout magazine for sure. Yes.
Yes, yes. And so I
When
was like,
I told him we were gonna have this conversation, he was like, I know he better talk about me. He's a mess. He is a mess. Yes, Winston, yes. And so um really and truly, if you think about that connection, what has it meant to you so far? I mean, I know that you sort of been a part of some of the behind the scenes things, and as you were working into what will be a future contribution, what has that behind the scenes sort of meant to you thus far?
um, I would say it's been from what I've gathered, it's been a loving camaraderie, family type deal, and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
And and I'm looking forward to actually being a part of it, contributing more to the discussion and to the platform because it's a very significant platform to be a part of.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because there's very few minority LGBTQ magazines
Mhm.
out there. And the only one that I can only think of is the uh is it I can't remember at the Tub magazine, I think it is. But anywho, I can't remember.
I'm terrible
But
at
yeah,
that.
yeah. But there's very few, and to be a part of this one is I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, yeah, very true. I'm telling you, yeah, the writing team really is about camaraderie, support. And so I really love that part of it as well. And you've already kind of told us what makes it special for you. So I'm just curious. Most of the writers contribute, they sort of have their own, little niche every month. And so, what is one of the columns that you really enjoy or look forward to every month?
Um, I would say Winston's, and then when you two get together,
Oh,
y'all call, and then I can't remember the poor child's name. I can't remember, but they have the always the column with the hand. I think the hands is always out like this, and it's a purple background. There was one episode. I can't remember,
I'm
but
terrible with names.
I can't remember. I can't remember the child's name, and I don't want to give the person the
Terrible with
wrong
names.
pronouns.
I do know
So,
what you're talking about. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm terrible with names, but I do know who you're talking about. I can see it in my head, but obviously, right?
right.
Look, I should have gotten one of my because we have actually printed several of because for those of you who are watching, we are an electronic, so we come out, I don't know what are the fancy technology words they call it, but we have actually gotten some printed. I should have gotten one of those out so I could remember everybody's column names and their name to associate it with. But the fact that there are some that you look forward to, I really want our audience to know that that's sort of what happens, right? When we think about the magazine and the writers, it is a community, right? And we're writing about things that are close to our hearts and that sort of thing. But you do have those that are especially important to you. And I'll tell you, one of the things that I really love is I always love what our editor puts right in the very beginning, her word that she opens the magazine with. I always look forward to those because she is really just so raw, so honest, so real and authentic, which is exactly how she is, really and truly how she engages with everyone. But I always look forward to what she's going to say, because she's going to tell us something about what's going on with her. And then she's going to talk about sort of, what's happened that month and putting things together. I mean, it's just always such a beautiful thing. But for those of you who are watching, I'm telling you, there's something for everyone. If faith-based writing is not something you enjoy, we have poets that contribute, the photographers. I mean, it just really is such a beautiful and amazing thing, and it covers such a wide range of things. So I love that. So what are you really hoping for what you plan to contribute? Is there something specific that's on your heart that you feel like you want to share with the readers? Like, what can we look forward to when you make that future contribution?
Um, I would say, hmm. I
Uh-oh,
think I
is
want to. I think I want to leave it a mystery. It's like an
it
all.
okay? All right, a little surprise. Okay. Right, adding that flavor, but
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, because really and truly you have spoken with such passion about so many things. I really think it's such a, I mean, it's your oyster, right?
Right.
And that's really what happens. Our writing becomes personal. I will tell you that for me, um it really has taken a long time for me to be in a place where I would be willing to share writing with people, or speaking, even doing interviews, that sort of thing. My spouse has been a huge encouragement, because for so long I was like, it's like your baby, you just want to hold it close, and I don't want to give it away to anyone. So we're definitely looking forward to what you have next for us. I do have a question. So I mentioned our editor in chief. Winston actually has an interview coming up with her soon that will be coming out, and he refers to her as the boss lady. And so, one of the things that I really want to ask you is what she does, the time, effort, energy, money that she puts into creating this platform for us as writers, as contributors. Um, it's such a huge thing. And let's be honest, in some ways, it probably is one of the most thankless jobs, because, she's the one late in the midnight hour, trying to put it all together so it can be hot off the presses. What's a message that you would like to send to her, just sort of as a thank you or anything, to just encourage her when she is late in the midnight hour trying to put it all together, to just encourage her to keep going?
I would say, stay true to your vision. Stay true to your vision. Um, and whatever you bring to the table to enhance, well, whatever you bring to the table for your vision should enhance your vision.
Mhm.
And remember your yes. There'll
Mhm.
be times where you will feel like, hey, is this something I would still want to do? I mean, we got 3 years now, and is it something I still want to do? Remember your yes, remember your why, that you decided to create this magazine, create this platform for others, and continue to share that vision with everyone. And we're going to continue to push it because we enjoy you. So keep it going.
I love that. Absolutely. Yes. And I really do. I'm telling you, I'm sure. Yeah, that thing of like, what was I thinking? Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, our editor is Miss Tamara Lee. I love her dearly. Constantly try to remind her of that, how much I love and appreciate her. So we're sort of getting to the point, we're wrapping it up here. What is there something that we haven't talked about? I think we've hit on like all these major things, the family, the spouse, the work, the all of those things. But is there any message that you would like to leave that you feel like, hey, I really haven't gotten the chance to say this, but I want to make sure that people know this before we go?
Um, I would say, who you are is worth fighting for.
Mm,
Who
wow.
you are is worth fighting for. Regardless of race, color, gender, sexuality, orientation, whatever it is, who you are is worth fighting for because
Yes.
God is taking a fight for you.
Wow. That's so powerful. I love it. I love it. That's so amazing. And it's so true. It is absolutely the truth. And I think really, truly getting an opportunity to hear part of your story and what you had to say and your experiences. We oftentimes are very concerned about our young people because we know within our community, the rates of suicide are so high.
Yes.
But being able to hear someone say that in spite of it all, guess what? You can live this powerful, fruitful life. I mean, my goodness, that is an amazing thing. So, Mr. David, I have had a pleasure of interviewing you, but if any of our viewers would like to get in touch with you, reach out to you, connect with you about some of those community service things you guys are doing down there in Columbia, South Carolina, where can they find you?
Ah, I'm on pretty much every social media platform.
Or if they want to get a massage, I forgot to put that in there too. They want to
Yes,
get
yes, yes, yes.
a
So,
yeah.
if you want to talk, if you wanted to reach out to me directly, if you have any situation that you may need help with, advice with, if you need a mentor or whatever the case may be, just somebody to hear you out, you can reach out to me on Facebook, David Maurice Griffin. I'm also on Instagram, D Maurice Griffin 83. Um, I'm on Threads. Yeah. Also D Maurice Griffin 83, which is an Instagram version of Twitter. And as far as my business, you can just look up Empower Fuel Massage and Wellness. That's Empower, the word fuel put together, massage and wellness. And I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, you name it. I'm trying to be on it,
Hey, you got them all covered. You're like, hey, I'm not going to be hard to find because I'm putting myself out there. I love
That's
it. I
it.
absolutely love it. Well, you have surely put yourself out there in this very insightful conversation. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me. For those of you who are watching, don't forget the reason that we've had the opportunity to have this beautiful, wonderful conversation is all about Blackout Magazine. Baby,
Yeah,
baby, baby. Hey, I'm gonna tell you, go to the page, like it, then run over there and subscribe, subscribe, subscribe.
absolutely.
As my spouse always says, it is where Black and Brown queer excellence resides. So hit it up, find out what's going on, and we're waiting to see what Mr. David Griffin has for us next. What he's gonna put out in the world with Blackout Magazine as well. Folks, have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope that you have enjoyed our chat and join us again on the next go round. Bye bye.